Every transfer window, Chelsea spend big. The sporting directors reportedly use data to identify the best players that suit Chelsea with specific requirements, such as being young enough to fit into the squad, the wage structure, and still have resale value for future flips. But not all of the signings that they have made have worked out as we imagined, so I decided to dive into the data myself. Defensive actions, short on pass types, progressive plays, and more. And using that, I found 3 perfect signings for Chelsea to sign this summer. They're young, smart, and realistic. So let's get into it. Right now, Chelsea's squad has potential and huge quality, but our depth in a few positions need improving if we are to challenge for the Premier League and Champions League right away. So here's what I looked for. Young players to fit into the squad with strong underlying stats who are fit for a pressing, possession-based system. So let's start with the defense, and the first player that I identified has been heavily linked to Chelsea this transfer window, also in the past as well. His name is Jarell Hato. Now, if you follow Ajax, you've already heard the hype around his name, but the data is even better. An 89.4% pass accuracy in the very upper echelons of fullbacks across Europe. 0.21 assists per 90, showing what he brings to the team going forwards, and a 1.77 aerial duels won per 90, not forgetting his defensive ability as well. He's 19 and has been captaining Ajax for years. He's clearly an elite talent, and his mentality is just as impressive, playing like a seasoned pro at a big club at such a young age. He's really comfortable on the ball, left-footed, and really smart in his positioning as well. He can slot in as a left-back in a back 4, having played 88 games already there, or as a left centre-back in a 3, where he's played 70 games at the age of 19. This would be perfect for Maresca's system of building up from the back, and he seems almost built for this way of football. Hato would bring calm, leadership, and progression from deep, all things that Chelsea need. And Cucurella has become one of the best left-backs in the world, in my opinion, in recent years at Chelsea, after a very rocky start, admittedly. But just one injury to him would leave Chelsea in a very bad position, as there is no one of his profile who could slot in and replace him at the club at the moment. He's been told to play as a regular left back at times, but also shifting across into the 3, or even pushing into the attacking midfield areas where he scored a lot of goals, getting on the head of crosses and cutbacks. Interestingly, Hato's spider chart is almost identical to Cucurella's, and he is also nice and versatile, which gives us another great option, not just in case Cucurella gets injured, but also to lessen his workload and even push each other to even greater heights. Transfer market values him at 35 million euros, but it has been touted about 60 million euros is what it would take to sign him. Other teams such as Liverpool and the biggest teams across Europe have had him on their lists for a number of years, so he obviously would cost a premium price tag. But if we could negotiate that down to 45 million pounds, I think that's a very fair price for a very young player who would bring a lot to our team. Now, next up is someone a little less flashy but just as vital, Thomas Araujo from Benfica. He's 23 years of age, so he's not one of these super young teenagers, but has now had experience playing for Benfica, playing out in Portugal, and still has a long career ahead of him. He's already played over 90 senior games as a centre-back and over 25 as a right-back, showing his quality and versatility also. And with 1.52 progressive carries per 90, he's in the top 2% of centre-backs. Not to mention his 2.73 tackles per 90, the top 3%. But Araujo is so interesting because his percentile stats are all green basically, and it leaps out the page at you. He has 1.09 shot creating actions per 90, showing how he'd fit our system well and help create chances from wherever he ends up on the pitch. Now, this guy reads danger really early, but his biggest strength is on the ball. The fact that he also receives progressive passes in the top 1% of centre-backs suggests that he could even slot in as the inverted fullback playing in midfield if he needs to. If you put him beside Colwill or Hato, you've got cover for both ball playing and physical duels. Should mention Araujo is right-footed, so it wouldn't impact a Hato transfer. However, we would need to offload a centre-back or 3 before signing another one. With Disasi and Vega on their way out permanently, and Sarr and Anselmino on verge of loans, it still leaves Badiashile, Chalobah, Colwill, Tosin and Wesley Fofana to cover just 2 positions. And although Chalobah and Tosin really impressed me last season, Colwill seems to be the only untouchable at the moment. And for the long term, our centre-back options will need reinvesting in, I believe. So why not get Araujo before his value rockets even more than it did in the last 12 months? He's also quite a clear elite talent, playing in the Portuguese youth setup from under 15s, working his way up, and with the likes of Araujo and Hato being almost ready-made for our tactics. It not only increases their chances of success at Chelsea personally, but also hopefully increases their attraction to our club as there will no doubt be competition for these lot. But let's now talk about the attack, because even after all the money we've spent, the left wing position has not been sorted ever since Eden Hazard's departure in 2019. I'm a really big fan of the addition of Bino Gittins, a fast taken winger who can cut inside, but after Sancho refused to lower his wages to stay permanently, and Mudryk's indefinite ban, it just leaves Tariq George as the other left winger, who looks like he needs consistent playing time and experience in men's football before he can really push for a starting spot at Chelsea, although he did play his part in getting us Champions League qualification in the end last season. Now I should mention, new signings João Pedro, Pedro Neto, they can all play on the left wing, but personally I'd like 2 right-footed left wingers, 2 left-footed right wingers, and then Jackson, Delap and João Pedro for the front 3, because Palmer will always have that number 10 spot for me. If he needs a rest or an injury, we've got cover in the versatile options Estevao, João Pedro. And for that reason, another right-footed left winger is what I'd like, and that is why I'm backing Malik Fofana. Having just turned 20, he's coming off a breakthrough campaign for Lyon in Ligue 1 last season, and although they weren't relegated to League 2 in the end for financial rule breaking, they will be in need of money, which could give us a cut price transfer. His clear strength is his carrying off the ball, with 6.72 progressive carries per 90 last season. 11.43 progressive passes received per 90 shows that he can also run it behind or pop up in really dangerous areas on the pitch. Not to mention his 0.47 non-penalty goals per 90 is very high for a wide winger, which would allow us to share the goals out across the entire attack. And finally, his 1.41 tackles per 90 shows that he works hard off the ball, and his mentality would hopefully suit us well. He's right-footed, plays off the left, cuts inside, combines quickly, he can press hard and tracks back. Exactly what Chelsea could do with. Other Lyon sales in recent years consist of Malo Gusto, Bradley Barcola, Bruno Guimaraes. So if I had to put money on it, I think wherever Fofana goes, it would be a success. For me, he's like a more refined version of what we thought Mudryk would become, but most importantly, with a low risk transfer fee, meaning there is only really upside. He'd fit well into the French-speaking contingent and the young and hungry squad, and maybe, just maybe, if he doesn't get enough chances but shows his quality and his potential, in 12 months time his value would most definitely be more than the 25 to 30 million pounds it would roughly cost to sign him. So there it is, Jorel Hato, an elite left-footed defender with leadership skills, full rotation with Cucurella, Thomas Araujo, a versatile defensive stabiliser who is class on the ball, and Malik Fofana, a clean, direct and pressing left winger for rotation with Jamie Bino Gittins. All young, all affordable, all tactically smart. These would be nice modern recruitments who would hopefully improve our squad and depth and help push us as far as we can in the Premier League and Champions League next season. So do subscribe to the channel if you want more videos on Chelsea, like the video if you did get anything from it, and comment your thoughts on these players and any more you think would improve Chelsea. Thanks for watching, goodbye.